Okay, now my poster design is not completed, but I want to demo printing so that way you are ready for Monday when we're ready to critique it. So let's assume my poster, or not my poster, my design is finished, my 10 by 10 design is finished. Of course, you want to package these. We always package stuff. So we would package this before we turn it in. We also want to package the other one, part one. If there's any explanation points, you want to read those, figure out if you got fonts missing or not loaded. You know, if you don't have fonts loaded, load them before you package. Any explanation points in this area are a problem. So make sure there are none. So I'm going to hit package. I'm going to hit continue on this window, and I'm packaging this to a great spot. After I package it, then I'm ready to print it. Now, you could choose to print here, which is much cheaper than anywhere else. Even Staples and Kinko's, those guys charge more per page than we do. So you could take your PDF. When you package something, I'll show you the package folder here, assuming I know where I put it. Sometimes I don't pay attention to where I put my package folders, so let me go and try to package again. File, package, and it will tell me where it saved it to. Yeah. It saved it to the desktop, Project 2, Part 2 Helvetica folder. Now I really want that to be in my Rebecca Bilbrey Project 2 folder. So I have to get my stuff organized. So you'll have two package folders, by the way. You'll have one for Helvetica, which is part 2 of the project. You'll have one for part 1, which is just the Garamond and the Baskerville and all that. If you're not printing from here, you can take the PDF. When you package it, it'll automatically create a PDF. You can take the PDF to Kinko's, FedEx rather, FedEx office, Staples, and they can print from a PDF. They cannot print from your InDesign file. Most likely they have an older version of InDesign, so they can't take the InDesign file. However, if you're printing here, we're just going to print from InDesign. Now, what these are called, this stuff that goes outside the edge, that's called a bleed, so we're going to leave that alone. We'll print with a bleed on it. Now, we haven't really talked about bleed settings, so what you might want to do is set the bleed, and we did not do that when we created the document. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Document Setup, and I'm going to set the bleed. So where it says bleed and slug, I'm going to click on that arrow, and I'm going to set the bleed at 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch, just because I've been doing this a long time, 1/8 of an inch is 9 points, so that's P9. So I want, for the top, bottom, left, and right bleed, I want that to be P9. Now, when I hit the W key, you will see, which is your non-print preview, you'll see there's a red line. It will print to the red line. So meaning when I tell it to print, it will not stop at the black line here. It'll print past the black line 1/8 of an inch. So that way when I cut this thing out, if I'm slightly off, that bleed out there is pulled far enough that if I mess up, nobody will know. It won't be just a little white sliver of paper. Okay? So now we're ready to print. Once we tell it, you know, let's have a bleed. Now, by default, it's set to 8.5 by 11, and our preview shows that this layout is just falling right off the page. Here in this room, we're going to choose the color printer, which is the Xerox 7800 to 334A1, so that's the one we have to choose. We want to go to Setup as the second item, and we want to choose Tabloid for the paper. That's 11 by 17. Now the design is fitting better onto that page. We do not want scale to fit turned on. Now, if you're taking your PDFs to Kinko's, they, by default, have scale to fit turned on, and it will mess up the size of your document. So make sure when you turn over a PDF to anybody at FedEx or Staples, make sure you tell them, do not scale to fit. I want this to be printed 100% of the size that I've manufactured, or that I've created it. For the page position, you want that to be centered, not upper left, not centered horizontally, not centered vertically, just centered. For marks and bleeds, which is over here in the far left column, you want to use the document bleed settings because we just set the document bleed settings. So set the document bleed settings at P9, and you'll see it grayed out, P9. So it's going to print 1/8 of an inch past the bleed. Now you need to know where to cut this out. So you want to turn crop marks on. Do not click on all printers marks. It will confuse you. Okay? You just only want crop marks. Do not do bleed marks. It will confuse you as well. We already have the bleed on there. Bleed marks just confuse folks. They don't know where to cut. So only crop marks. We go to page setup, make sure it's the correct printer, the right size paper. It is. Since this is a one-page document, I don't have to worry about turning off double-sided printing, but I am going to go to the printer and just make sure things are looking good there. Things should be good, but if it drives you nuts, turn off two-sided printing. On output, make sure it's composite CMYK. Make sure that doesn't say text is black. I know on our previous project, Perry was so nice to tell us that if we clicked on text is black, we would only get charged for a black and white print because it would only print in black and white. So if you're designing in black and white and no color, fine. Do the text is black. It'll cost you a little less money to print. But right now we want composite CMYK. We do not want text is black. Okay, so you might want to check that out because it will remember last time that you did that. So check that out. Now when I hit print, it's going to ask me to release the job and do all that. So I'm going to wait for that window to come up. And it's hopefully, I haven't checked the printer to see if 11 by 17 is loaded in there. I haven't even checked the printer to see if it's turned on. This is dangerous because I'm paying for I may be paying for something that I'm not going to get. If that printer is turned off, it will not let you know the printer is turned off. If that printer has got a paper jam, it will not let you know that on the computer end. It's not until you get up and walk back to the room until you find that out. So I'm going to go back and walk to the room and I'll stop the recording because I can't record how to cut it out or anything. So I should have something coming out of the printer.